You can tell I was a couple of glasses of wine in when I made this video, because the only note I have for this section is, quote, peep the new color palette. It's gonna be one of those kind of days. Okay, but here, at least I try and be honest. In the notes for this section, I did say, hello, welcome. It's currently Monday night and I am drinking wine. Yes, historical Meghan, we know that you were drinking wine. Anyway, on to the actual video content. At the end of Harry and Meghan's very successful trip to New York, the term rival court started showing up again on social media. So I thought we would talk about it. Rival court started getting thrown around in 2018 when it became news that Harry and Meghan planned to leave Kensington Palace and have their own offices under Buckingham Palace, a move, one might argue, that should have happened the minute they were married, but I digress. November 2018 was a firestorm for the Sussexes, with their very popular Oceania tour in October coinciding with increasing attacks from both Harry's family and the media later that month and into November. I will note that this top November 2018 article, which has the always wonderful Richard Lacey, that's a joke, as its source, is actually not terrible, with Lacey pointing out that this was an overdue move, that it's to William's benefit to have Harry and Meghan as his quote backup, and despite predicting there would be competition in 2018, Lacey apparently believed at that time it would be manageable. There are even a few pretty good digs at Prince Charles, which, we're always here for. So any good rivalry needs a background story or setup, and my biggest critique of that 2018 article would be that it once again perpetrates the idea that William and Harry were close as siblings in the years leading up to the eventual separation of their households. This is the foundation for the future rivalry, and it is used as ammunition against Meghan Markle, as it's more fun to blame her for their eventual quote-unquote fallout than it is to admit that. There really isn't a whole lot of evidence that William and Harry were ever super close as siblings outside of their early childhood. The continual forcing of the two together, especially as late teens and adults, was a benefit to the press in that it somewhat salvaged the Diana situation, as her boys were together, and it helped with the heir spare narrative where William could be presented as saving his younger brother. It's also important to note that for many royalists, Harry's role in his life, his only role in life, was to serve as a resource for his brother, even if that meant sacrificing himself. So, despite there being literal truckloads of historical precedent for royal brothers who don't exactly adore each other, much of the venom thrown at Harry derives from royalists not understanding why he refused to play the role he was handed at birth. Back in February of 2020, the Sussexes returning to Britain for the last time as working royals coincided with the Cambridges tour of Ireland, with royal reporters abuzz with rumors that Harry and Meghan's return would overshadow William and Kate. Hint, it did. It became commonplace that every time Harry and Meghan announced a new project or made any kind of move, the term rival court started getting thrown around again. Harry's exit from the royal family is something that hadn't happened since the abdication, and even then the Duke of Windsor was kept on the family payroll, so he was kind of still on their leash. As it has become clearer that Harry and Meghan aren't coming back, the long-term consequences of having a very popular ex-working royal with his own money on the other side of the Atlantic have become more in focus for the family. So in 2016, the British people did something very stupid. Apparently a lot of us were up to very stupid things in 2016, but I digress. They voted to leave the European Union. If you have the time, I would recommend listening to the Chris Hayes podcast on the subject. Link will be in the description of this video to kind of fully understand how stupid and poorly thought out this idea was. Now, we aren't here to talk politics, I get that, but what Brexit meant for the British royal family is that their tours abroad would suddenly transition from pretty mindless fluff to please don't leave the Commonwealth because we screwed up with Brexit. This would especially apply to the Cambridges as the couple who, pre-Harry and Meghan, could drive the most attention. Basically, Brexit would shine a light on one of the royal family's supposed specialties, diplomacy abroad. To be honest, it hasn't been going that great for them. I think I'm going to do a whole separate video on how poorly recent Cambridge tours have been, so I won't talk about it too much here, but between joking about COVID, furious reporters accusing them of using a royal tour as a vacation, Australia telling them not to come, getting caught getting political in Scotland just a few months ago, William and Kate have not exactly been thriving under this spotlight. And that brings us to today, a few days after the Sussexes completed a series of public visits in New York for Artwell, their charitable vehicle, and an answer to the question, are Harry and Meghan setting up a rival court? The answer is no. They're setting up something better. This rivalry only seems to exist in the heads of men in grey suits and certain UK press outlets. Although I will note that there are a handful of global outlets that have made comments such as, Harry and Meghan are talking about vaccine equity, where is the royal family on this issue? But regardless if the Sussexes are actively playing a part, the comparisons between their activities and the royal family are realistically never going to stop. The British royal family has come up with a lot of excuses on why it is still relevant as an institution. Royal tours, tourism, engagement, all reasons why they should supposedly be allowed to continue to take public money and stay in a position that by definition makes them supposedly above everybody else. Problem for them is that every time Harry and Meghan take another step, there are going to be comparisons, and as of late, those comparisons have not been kind to the royal family. Again, there is no historical precedent for what they are going through right now, as they have always stood alone without a rival, at least for the past few hundreds of years. While the family maintains the invisible contract with the UK press, global outlets, other than Australia, but we'll talk about Australia some other time, are not going to give the royal family an undeserved boost as they face off against this new rival. The palace has been floundering since. Thank you so much for continuing to watch my videos. I enjoy doing this, and I'm sorry they're so short, but even the short ones take me a long time and apparently a few glasses of wine to complete. I'll see you back here tomorrow.